to college life. Today, I will be discussing Howard University, located in Washington, D.C., and interviewing one of its powerhouse alumni who is using her education to help students and her community. Howard University was established March 2nd, 1867. It was founded by Oliver Otis Howard. The campus size is about 258 acres. It is ranked 110 in the 2018 edition of Best Colleges and University, and top 75 in Bloomberg Business in 2015. The average GPA is 3.3. It costs about $43,116 to attend Howard University yearly. I am here with Dr. Grace Henry. Thank you for joining us today. What is your association with Howard University?
Well, I had the pleasure of attending Howard University for 2 degrees. So I did a bachelor's in science, in psychology, and I did a master's of education in counseling.
What inspired you to write your book, Living Relentlessly?
Wow. Well, so first, let's start with what relentless means. Relentless means to pursue something irrespective of what life throws at you. So if you're having a hard time, you're still focusing on your goals. And I got to a point in my life where I realized that in order to achieve my goals, I had to pursue them regardless of what I was going through.
Do you ever get overwhelmed sometimes?
I'm overwhelmed now. All the time. I mean, I think in life, you hear things, and you're still young, but at some point you'll hear the term work-life balance. And that is the attempt to make sure that what you're doing at work and what you're doing in life, there's a balance. And I really don't think you really get to a place where there's a true balance, but you have to know when it's time to step back. So for today, I went to the spa. I did work at home because I realized that I was stressed out. My week was really overwhelming, and at times you have to stop and take time for yourself.
Name one dark time in your life and what persuaded you to overcome it.
Wow. When I think of this, and this one pops up because my brother's birthday was Sunday, but my only brother passed away 2 weeks before he turned 38.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you so much. And what was so hard about that, I mean, so many things was actually hard about that, but one, he was my only brother. But then two, you don't expect to lose a sibling. And I remember really being overwhelmed by that experience because you hear about losing parents. You even hear sometimes, unfortunately, of people losing children, but people rarely talk about losing a sibling. This is a person you grew up with, you got in trouble with, you lied to your parents with. And so when you lose them, it's like you're losing your best friend. And it took me a while to really resituate myself because the guy that I grew up with was no longer there. And so what inspired me, I realized that whether I was sad or whether I was glad, he still wasn't here. And knowing his intention, my brother was, he actually helped to create the laser that's in the Hubble telescope. And he worked for NASA, and he was really, really relentless about school, about his job, and about the things that he loved. And I realized that my brother would not want me waking up every day dreary, wondering, where am I going in life? And so eventually with time, I was able to find myself again. And so now I can think of his birthday being, this past Sunday, and not being sad about it, but I'm actually finally in a place where I'm comforted by his memories.
What was your best experience at Howard University?
That's a great question, especially today. So today's March 9th, and it is a moment where we remember the late Notorious B.I.G. And my most memorable, there's so many memories, but my most memorable experience at Howard was when I met him. And he was on campus with who was then Puff Daddy, who is now P. Diddy. And I remember they were standing on campus with a white van that maybe sat about 15 students, and they every time a good looking girl would walk by, he would say, "Hey, do you want to get in the van? It's only $5." And I looked at him and I said, "I am not paying $5 to be in your van." And I remember that. And so, especially with today being the anniversary of Big E passing, I always think about that. So that's probably one of my most memorable moments.
What was your best experience working at GW?
So I've been at GW now for 19 years, so that's a long time, longer than you've been alive. So many great experiences. In general, I love working with students. I think one of the best experiences of working at a college is seeing a student come in fresh out of high school, not really knowing what they want to do, and then watching them graduate, watching them move on, like your mom, to get married, have kids, great career. I mean, that's a great experience that you really get to be a very significant part of someone's life.
What inspired you to be who you are today?
Oh wow, what inspired me? So many things. So I know we don't have the time to get into my life, but if you read my book, you'll see the lifespan. But so many things happened. So I shared that I lost my brother, but at the same time, my mom was really sick. And so my brother passed away, my mom was sick, my youngest sister moved in with me, she had a baby, she had no job, she didn't finish school. I got to a point where I realized that somebody in this family has to have their stuff together. And what does that mean, especially being in a place where all this responsibility was on me? And so you asked me earlier, what encouraged me to overcome moments of being overwhelmed, and I realized that so many people depended on me. And not only that I realized that, I was able to move it to a place where I realized it was an honor to be that person that could help my family. And so now my mom is doing well. My sister graduated from college. She has a great job. And so like working in a college where I was able to see people move from a level of youth to growth, I've seen that in my family too. So that inspires me every day to be who I am.
What keeps you motivated at your job and why?
What keeps me motivated? I actually like what I do. I think, you hear so many people make jokes about Monday mornings, oh, I hate going to work, and they live for the weekend. And I think that even as you grow up and you identify what it is you want to do in life, you want to have a job that you're not waiting until it's over on Friday. It's something that you actually want to do. And so what keeps me motivated is that I truly love working with students. I truly love and am passionate about moving our university and hopefully then the world on issues of diversity and inclusion. Diversity and inclusion is so important, especially now in this time in the United States, and being able to be a part of someone's growth and understanding as it relates to how people are, even if they look different, that they actually are a lot more alike than you think. Being a part of that motivates me to go to work every day.
How did your education at Howard University and GW prepare you for your community?
Well, I talked about going to Howard and getting the 2 degrees in psychology. At GW, I got a doctorate of education in higher education administration. And so initially when I started college, I started thinking about being a psychologist. So that was my initial career goal. I wanted to help people. I wanted to help people with mental health issues and help people understand better how to support those with mental health issues. As I continued to do work, however, at a college, I realized that I could help students with their mental health growth in college. And so how did my education prepare me? One, of course, it gave me the academic understanding of growth. It helped me to understand college students. But then also, I think it gave me confidence. I think education does that for you. It also exposes you to different ways of thinking. And then, quite frankly, with the PhD, it gives you respect. So when people see Dr. Henry, there's a certain expectation that they have that they may not have of someone else. So I think education is very key. And if people have the opportunity to go to college, that they should.
What would you say to inspire a child who wants to work in the area of diversity when they grow older?
Well, first I would say that if you want to work in diversity, you have to realize that that's a challenging area. And so when we think about diversity, we think of different people. But the area of diversity is not only about representation. So it's not only about their presence, but it's also about the inclusion. How are these different individuals interacting with each other? How do they value each other? And so that is a very hard thing. I mean, think about some of your elementary school, middle school, soon to be high school experiences. Do you always get along with everyone? And why? Sometimes it's based on really basic things that we probably need to learn to be a little more tolerant of. So if you want to work in diversity, one, you have to realize that it's difficult, it's challenging. Two, it's also about teaching people to accept and sometimes maybe just tolerate certain things that they don't agree with. But thirdly, I would also say, and I say this all the time, if you're going to work in diversity and you realize that it's a challenging field, you have to have hope. You have to have hope that it'll get better. You have to have hope that you can actually make a change. Because if you only go into it thinking, man, this thing is challenging, what are you working towards? So hope is the foundation upon which diversity and inclusion really thrives. And so if you want to work in the field, unfortunately, I think we'll always have some diversity issues that we have to overcome. But if you're coming in, come in, know your stuff, and have hope.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Everyone go out and get the book, Living Relentlessly by Dr. Grace Henry. This has been Jordan with College Life. Please like, share, and subscribe. In the comments below, tell me what college or university I should review next on College Life. See you soon!